Name is Marty Wolford. I work for Salt Lake City, which is the capital of Utah. So I work for the city. I work on the innovation and project management team. So I'm on the innovation side. I am the AI lead, even though my title is senior innovation consultant. I am working on I'm the AI lead, and I've been working on this kind of work for probably 2 years now already. It seems like since the coalition was very new, I came on. So yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
long journey.
And one of countless people who are the AI officer without having the title AI officer in the public sector.
One of those people who asked too many questions and got assigned the tasks. They're like, you seem passionate about this. Do you want to take it on? Oh, okay. So yeah.
Right, right. And hello, I am Albert Lee, Privacy and AI Officer for the City of San Jose, and a part of the management team for the GovAI Coalition. So, Marty, I want you to talk to us a little bit about the playbook that you and the team in the uh, training working group in our Readiness and Adoption Committee created for all of our coalition members to use.
Yeah, so this playbook came about pretty much like I just said. I asked questions and then kind of got assigned this task. And I was at I've been to both of the summits that the coalition has put on and met so many people from the most random positions who were there to bring back information about AI, like a grant writer, just people who are like, I don't know anything. And it's like, oh, that was me, right? That was me. I didn't come into this knowing much. I joined this training work group because I really just wanted to take what they had developed and then implement it. But they were developing trainings that were more geared towards like agents and they were more advanced. And I was like, what about those of us who are super like, this is not our education. This is not our background. A lot of us are getting kind of just assigned to what are we doing with AI? And so then once again, found myself asking a question and being assigned a task. And so here's the playbook. Like, this is what kind of I needed when I was just overwhelmed with information, trying to figure out what to do first. Um,
Yeah.
so this kind of
It's the
just like
playbook
lays
for
out.
like when the AI responsibility falls into your lap,
Yeah.
this is what you
Yeah.
need.
And when you're meeting with people, like I just call them the under the hood AI people that I work with, right? They're
Mhm.
no offense, like they know what they're talking about, but they know what they're talking about to this level where I don't know what they're talking about, right? And so that's like for me, I'm like, we need to be able to talk about AI with the people, and they need to be able to
Yeah,
receive this information in just like a more casual way, not in a computer science way or in a cyber angle, right? It's just like just normal talking like this. And so that is
yeah,
really which I think it works well in government, right? Because I'm trying to train people who are pretty anti-AI or they're advanced or right. So then I'm just this
yeah.
person who's kind of a middle person. Like I'm not like super, I'm not a super user, a power user. I'm a pretty just basic like user. So I can relate with those people really well and try to help them adapt and get used to technology. And I've been through, the introduction of the internet, right? Like I got my
Yeah.
first email at 20 something years old, like, right? So, like, I can relate to those folks a bit. And then I can relate to those who are just so excited about AI. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you're helping bring everyone up.
Yeah, because I read a statistic about women being really at the kind of bottom of the AI adoption. And it just really, had me thinking weird, about wage disparities between women and men and like these different statistics that we see. And I just thought, oh no, here's one more gap where we might fall behind. And so, upskilling, training, I think it's so important, regardless. Like maybe you don't want to use these tools, and that's okay. But if one gets put in front of someone in Salt Lake City, I want them to not be scared. I want
Yeah.
them to have basic understanding, and I want them to be able to play and learn in a safe way. And so that's hopefully what the playbook kind of helps people create for their city or county.
Yeah. Let's bridge that gap, Marty. Do you
Yeah,
wanna pull up the playbook? Let's go through
yeah,
it. And as you're pulling it up, I really appreciate that framing, right? There's even in the coalition, right? We have maybe 900 agencies in the coalition, but there are 30,000 cities, towns, counties across just the United States, right? So many folks are in that stage that you were in of, hey, this is in my lap, or people are asking about it, and I accidentally became the one responsible. What do I do?
yeah, which is so, so scary.
Yeah,
Especially if you spend any time with your cybersecurity team and you learn about all the things, then it feels heavy. It feels
yeah,
like, oh my gosh, like could we be taken for ransom because I make the wrong call? But of course, this is not a one person job. This is not like maybe if you're a very, very, very small city,
hmm,
or county, you're just, a small team. But this kind of work is a team of at least 20 different people that I have to interact with to move stuff in Salt Lake City. So that would be I
really
think
interesting.
like reading through this could feel very, it could feel overwhelming, but
Yeah,
I think it's like you have to like lean into your data people, to your cyber people, like all the people who know the things that you may not know as much. And they're
yeah,
weighing in on trainings or policy development or whatever it is that where you want to start. Um,
sure. And Marty, say I'm a town manager or a city manager, and I come across this. Who in the org is a good person to give this to as the first person?
Yeah, I think, every city is kind of built a little differently.
Of course.
So it could be IT.
Mhm.
I think if you have an information management department, that's where I'm at. It's a good fit for it.
Yeah,
Um, but I've heard it it fall into so many different labs. HR, for example, because they're doing the training. So it really, I think it just depends on knowing the landscape of your city and
yeah,
where you need to go. But I think IT, cyber, kind of that side of the city is a good place to start, especially because they could have something already started. And so you want to make sure
yeah,
you're not duplicating that work. But um, my experience and my communications with other folks from cities is like everyone's so busy. It's really like it's not like oh, that we just know who that should go to. It's like it takes
for
some time
sure.
to figure that out because most of us don't have AI officers. Most of us, like, we're
Yeah,
just, and think of like when we started writing this playbook, so much has already changed in like a year. I mean,
yeah.
the landscape has already changed so much. So, um,
But
if you
that's really
have,
good to know. Just there are many points of entry. So for a lot of
yeah,
folks, for a lot of agencies, it might be more important to think about who's the person that's willing to champion it than am I picking the absolute right place to start?
yeah, because you need support. It's a big, big
Yeah,
task to take on just because there's a lot of things to consider that I didn't expect. So many like decision points in this journey. And so there's just things to consider. And if you don't have if you have not started this journey, maybe you don't have
yeah,
an AI policy. Maybe that's where you want to start before training. I mean, and I don't think there's one right way to start. Salt Lake
yeah,
City started with a policy because we knew people were using it. And so it's just like, let's just get the policy there. And
yeah.
then training was like not even top of our minds first. That may not be the case today, right? Because things have developed so far. Maybe that's just where someone jumps in. Yeah.
And a quick plug for folks, if this is your first entry point, you can also see the GovAI Coalition's policy templates and governance templates, which are a great place to start. Hundreds of agencies are already using it. It's a best practice approach for your policy. And now, Marty, please walk us
And,
through what are some of the
yeah.
core components of this training playbook here?
Yeah. So there's a lot of text at the beginning of this, but it really lays out this playbook is for just local government employees,
Hmm.
like just all of you, anyone. So it could be directors, it could be, just like knowledge workers. Um, and what it really does is, so it's designed so that you just really start where you want to start. So it could be um, training is the focus. Like this is the main focus, right? Is training, but it does give you ideas of where you could start. So it starts in phases. So phase one is initiation.
Hmm.
And that's really like where you are um, trying to just know, like, build awareness, alignment, who are your stakeholders, who are the leadership, like we talked about, where's that entry point? This kind of like lays that out for you a bit. Um, you need to know who you need to be working with, right? Because like you could have risk management and then you have your legal team and then you have IT and they might all have different positions or ideas for direction. When it comes to AI,
Yeah.
we're updating our policy right now. And I mean, there's a lot of it more interest today than there was 2 years ago with our first policy. So it's people are more
Right.
aware, which is great, but it complicates things a little bit too, but it's good. So this really just
True.
gives that like you want, first of all, you need to start with whoever those stakeholders are. If it's leadership, like how much do they even know about AI? There's great resources from the GovAI Coalition to help get them kind of like understanding what AI is, how it can be used in government, how it can save time and it's efficient and safe, and all of these things. So none of these things that are talked about in this playbook are something that you have to create on your own. Um, one of the things I'm most excited about with the playbook is there's a ton of resources that I just like compiled in every section because those are the resources I used to build things out in Salt Lake, and I think there's no reason to reinvent anything when it comes to AI because people are already doing that work. So, so and
That's
then
awesome. It's like a little almost diary of how you solved it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, really, it was like I've kind of taken this approach in my career of like, well, if I don't know the answer to that, that means lots of other people don't, right? Because I'm not unique.
Amen.
So it's like if I'm asking this question, if I don't understand this, that means I know I'm not alone.
Hmm.
So like, let's help other people's questions get answered so that
Yeah.
right? So the best practices for building awareness, it lays that out. It says clarify the why early and often. People go off track, right? We go off track all the time in government. So it's like why are we talking about AI again? So let's like get back to that. And then really training is risk management and AI readiness, right? Like a lot of people just want to train on their policy, but then do your staff know what prompting is? Do they understand like the risk associated with data being put into a tool? Like those are all really important training things too. It's not just here's our policy and follow it, right? There's like
Right.
skills. It takes skills to use AI. So
Yeah.
it breaks that down. It gets into use cases, start with low stakes, internal use cases. That's not where we started. That's what we did
Really?
after the fact. So we started with a policy, then we
For
did
sure.
a survey. And at the time, people just weren't using it in a way that I could get a really great use case list.
Yeah.
So so that's something to think about. We ended up just doing an internal pilot, and that's how I started our use case kind of library.
Yeah.
And then I think having a decision maker on your side, right? Your champion, your leadership, you need somebody who can make a decision who's working with you. So that could be a sponsor or it could just be your boss or someone. But a lot of decisions will have to get made. So you need to find who that person is who can help you get a decision over the table because that, or over the finish line, over the table. Um, so then here's what I talked about with resources. So then there's just this like resource list. It may feel overwhelming, but each of these is pretty strategic with how it's laid out. So you have the ICMA, it's just, a workbook for strategizing. But then you have like the AI governance checklist for elected officials. So that's if you need to go through like Does your council have to direct that this is okay? For us, we don't need permission from our council to start this. Other places, they do need that. So you just
Right.
kind of find the resource that meets your need. There's all the use case resources on the coalition's page. And then
Right.
I use these use case examples. The city of Long Beach, I just think having their use case registry online, public facing, is a great transparency, um, a way to let
Yeah.
people know how it's being used. So I share this all the time internally with people, like because we're building something similar. Um, so yeah,
That's
then we
awesome. And
yeah.
it's nice to know that, if I wanted to see or get inspiration, there are places that I can just click, scan through, take a look at a few things, see what sparks interest for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, just how do you have your use case repository? Because I can say what we've done a lot of is quite literally it's a PowerPoint deck that we just keep updating with different use cases as people build things.
Yeah. So we're building a SharePoint site.
Yo, nice.
And it'll have, so I'm not exactly sure, we're still in this content phase of that, how it'll,
Yeah.
but it'll be hopefully like a use case, and then you just click on it and then it'll give you prompts. So we're using
Oh yeah.
some, like 5 examples of prompts. So like that I think is helpful for people.
Mm,
And then like some risk, so if it's this kind, like summarizing, or some of those basic things that people, writing functionality, writing assistance, like don't summarize a private meeting notes in a public
right.
tool, like just like the things that people may not think about, um, which really leads into this key considerations before implementing AI training section, because um, it's just important to know like where your agency's at with readiness
Right.
for this, right? So it could be like everyone is just really far along and everyone's using it and they don't need basic training, they need advanced training or something. Well, then that's great. But then maybe you're like, I have no idea. There's 3,000 staff at Salt Lake City. So it's like, I don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it. So we sent a survey to all citywide just to try to learn that. So that's where we started. And a lot of people, we asked, have you had any training? Are you interested in it? And like what kind? And so
Mm,
the majority, we had almost 800 responses, which is pretty decent for an
wow.
internal survey. And the
Yeah.
majority had no training, right? They're just learning as they go. Or um, those super users or power users, I don't know why I always say super,
Yeah.
they wanted like advanced training, like, so it was
Right. They
like
want to build their
this,
chatbots.
right. So it's this huge gap of like, I know nothing and I'm ready to build robots. Like, where's where's the middle? And then so
Yeah.
that's like when you need to really like just be aware of what is happening at your city
Yeah.
or county with
And I'll
that.
just say the people that are ready to build robots, sometimes those are the ones that I'm most concerned about because I don't know if they're building the robots with the guardrails,
Exactly, right? Yeah.
right? So it's
Because they know so much, they might not need guardrails, or, right? It's like,
right.
I don't know though. That's accurate. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
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 Um, so then we list out here some what other considerations. So, you know, yeah, back to like, does leadership have an understanding of what they want to do with AI? We didn't. We didn't have a vision. We have a new CIO here in Salt Lake. And so now we're developing that vision. And we're 2 years into this. So that's like, I think, like, if you're like, we haven't done that, oh my gosh, like, I was feeling that way a lot. And what I've learned, mostly through the coalition, is like, you're okay. You're okay. If you're focusing on policy, training, um, I think you're in a good spot, right? There's plenty of time to move into more advanced directions if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then the AI governance handbook is here from the coalition. So that really helps, those guardrails that you had mentioned. How are you going to keep constituent data safe, right? At the end of the day, I am saying out loud multiple times, it's our responsibility to protect the data of our constituents, and there's no room to budge on that. Like that's our responsibility. And so how do we do that? And like what are the guardrails to do that? That's a really important conversation. Then it gets into NIST.
Of course.
I'm not going to talk about NIST. But if you have people asking you, well, is this following the NIST framework? It's here for you to go read it, and really that's your cyber team. For me, that's my cyber team. Like I'm
Mhm.
like, does this policy follow what you need it to follow? And I rely on them to educate me on that because that's not my area of expertise. So um
It's worth being there to know you're following it. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, when we were building the coalition policy templates was making sure that, okay, are these following the NIST's approach to AI as well, right? Making sure that we're at least
yeah,
we're crossing our T's, dotting our I's.
right. And then I think case studies, I mean, I'm just so interested what other people are doing and how they're doing it because that's for me the best education I can get. And so
Yeah.
I've shared in here, there's quite a few different use case or case studies. And I think that's something to think about too when you're building these things out. Like, I don't think about writing this stuff up to share as a case study, but I think it's important that we start to do that because that's how a lot of us are learning and building our AI programs or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's telling the stories for
yeah,
success so that it grows the buy-in.
exactly. And
Yeah.
then GovAI Coalition's not the only game in town, right? You have like City AI Connect on the west. We have RITA. So I think it's knowing that you're just not alone. If the GovAI Coalition, if for whatever reason, if that's not a good fit for you, there's others. Like you don't have to. And some are more
Yeah.
international focused than others. And so there's a lot out there to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to go into this section? It's just surveys, just a survey.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about the surveys already, but
Yeah.
I do appreciate that you have questions there and ways for people to think about creating their surveys and different examples of other surveys. So, you
Yeah.
know, even in the survey creation, we're not alone.
Yep. No need to write your own survey. And honestly, a, a large language model will give you a great questions to start with that you can
Yeah,
edit and change. Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, so then there's guidance on here. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous how much, but if you've never written a survey, and I can't assume that everyone has done that, right? And so
Yeah.
there's links to the different kinds of survey forms and tools there, and then
Oh
the
yeah,
examples, and then more resources. So many resources, but I love
absolutely.
resources. Um, so yeah, so that's that section. Then we move into delivery, and this really is the focus on an AI policy, right?
Hmm.
Um, because if you don't have one, you should be thinking about it, and you should be thinking about how it relates to your training, because a training on your AI policy is really like your risk awareness and getting people so that they're using it responsibly, right? Using AI responsibly. We hear about it all the time, but that's like what your policy really points to is like, this is how we use AI responsibly. We don't do this. This is okay. We don't do that. And then training needs to align with that, unless you're just doing skill training. But people need to know the guardrails. They just need to know that when they're starting off. And our policy was pretty relaxed. I thought it just was like, just don't enter anything like this kind of data, and use your work email. And it like was pretty basic.
Yeah.
But but then good city employees, they want to know exactly what tool I can use. What can I exactly do? Like they want specifics, which I wasn't expecting. I thought they would just like love the freedom, but so now we're getting real specific here with use cases and approved tools and right like, but we
Yeah.
didn't start there, and it was okay. And then we learned from feedback because I would go and present our policy. I would go to departments and train them on it, and learned from that feedback. Like, oh, okay, you want more information, and that's great. And so we'll get there, and we're getting there. It took us a minute, but we're getting there. And I think that's okay. Everybody wants to go real fast, but honestly, my advice is just like go at the pace that you're comfortable with because you can make just some wrong decisions if you go too fast. Um, and then when you're talking about policies, that I've shared a bunch of policy
Of course.
examples, and you have a ton on the GovAI Coalition webpage, and so you do not need to. And probably all of these are outdated already. Um, like there probably a lot of people are already starting to update their policies. So, um,
But the
but you can,
fact stands is if I'm gonna write an AI policy today, I should not be starting with a blank document. I should be
yeah,
starting by going to one of those cities or one of those government agencies, grabbing their policy or grabbing the policy templates from the coalition or some others, and just start there, see what I like, see what I don't like.
yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, and that's
you
exactly what we did. We used the coalition's template we did, and that's what we used. And then, until
perfect.
we were ready, because it was like we just need something, and it doesn't need to be, the most perfect policy. Because at the time we didn't even know
Right.
enough, we didn't have enough information. We just knew
Yeah.
like
And
that.
perfect
So
today is not going to be perfect tomorrow. So,
yeah,
what you need is something.
yeah, something, just something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, So then if you do a survey, the survey will really help you know what kind of training people need. Like I said, right? Like we had those like just so green all the way to really advanced. And then as we've progressed on this journey, our attorneys have different needs, and our PD, our police, public safety, have different training needs than a lot of, just like the office worker who's using it just, for like productivity uses. And so then you start to get into departmental training, which we haven't gotten there yet, but we will build towards that. But that's um, don't let that overwhelm you. Like that's okay because it's like as you get started, they need still training on policies and basic use, and
Right.
then
Start
advanced
with a
use will
basic
come.
training. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Make sure they understand what they're doing, and they feel comfortable, and they understand what prompting is. And even though it's not near as that, like I feel like prompting's just become easier. You don't have to be a prompting engineer to do it anymore unless you're doing really complicated stuff. But yeah. So then, um, these are the same. Oh, the National League of Cities, their toolkit, Demystified AI. That one's a good place to start too. If you're just like, I don't know how to figure out what my knowledge, my baseline is for staff. Um, let's see.
And this is the foundational training that you were talking about.
Hmm. Yeah. So once you know what you're going to prioritize, so like for us, we prioritized our policy. Our next phase is our new policy and a skill-based training. So we'll have
Okay.
a required training on the policy,
Yeah.
and then skill-based will be a little bit more, it'll be optional, but we'll have
Hmm.
lunch and learns, workshops. We'll do a lot more hands-on. It won't just be like, here's a recording, cool, you're good
Yeah,
to go. Like we'll be more interactive later because that's what people also said in the survey.
for
Um,
sure. And when you
and
say required, who's the training required for?
so that's a really kind of a much more complicated question than I ever or answer than I ever thought it would be. So
Yeah.
for us, I mean, I'm just like anyone, well, everyone, right? But then you have all these departments who they're not on laptops. Like some of them haven't even been issued computers because they're, public lands, they're out in the field, or so
Yeah.
they're like rarely checking email. So then, the question is, do they really need this training? Probably not.
Yeah.
They don't even have a compute and work issued computer because that's not the nature of their work. So there's no need then to have that group in there. And then it can get a little bit complicated. And then people get real nervous about overwhelming staff with too many required trainings. So then you have to kind of like work through that. Okay, so what's the timing of this? And it can get there's a lot of conversations that you need to have that you just may not expect. And so it's good to get HR, have them aware of if that's where your training comes from, or get them aware of what you're doing and how they can support you because um, those were just some speed bumps I wasn't expecting that we came across with the training.
Yeah.
So
No,
then
it's
there's,
it me thinking about like both, okay, what departments have things in the field, and also within departments, what what types of roles are going to be glued to a laptop, like
yeah,
myself,
yep,
or are they, out there in the field and this might not be something that's important for them. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. Yeah, like we don't need to train on stuff people will never use. So,
But I will say,
um,
or at least one of the things that we've thought about is that trying to give everyone training on, uh, you know, AI scams. So
yeah,
awareness of, hey, you might get a phone call that sounds just like, your boss or your friend or your spouse.
yeah.
And just a quick awareness on that. Because anyone can be susceptible to that.
Oh my gosh, and they're so good now. Those scams are so good. I sent this week two phishing scams that I was just like, this is weird. But I mean, there was nothing except just a vibe check on it that, and they
Yeah.
both turned out to be phishing. But it was literally just a vibe check. Like, this just feels weird, but nothing was misspelled, nothing, right? You don't have the
Yeah.
same tells anymore. So they're really hard to spot.
Yeah.
Um, And then I just want to
But
call
okay.
out this AI online course list. So if you're just like, oh my gosh, just tell me about training. I just want to go find a training and get going. There it is. Go to the AI on the online course list, because that is like where everything is listed. And then here is even more. So
Cool.
and these are free and self-paced, which is great. So apolitical, and apolitical has a lot of people from Canada and Europe are a part of that group. So you get a different. It's kind of nice to see what other
Oh,
countries are doing because there's just kind of a different. They just have different risk tolerance, right? And so they go in different directions and different places. It's nice to see the responsible AI for public professionals. Oh, this link is they've redone this training and so they've shortened it. So that one goes into skills, like, and telling you it's agnostic, just not specific, just tool. So that's something to think about too. Like we don't have any enterprise AI.
mhm.
So if you, as a city or county, if you have that, then you probably want to train people on that tool specifically. If you don't have approved tools, then it's just like pick a tool and use it, right? And then you just need a really a training that's not only speaking about a specific
Right.
brand, right? And then you get into like Coursera. Then, of course, you have leadership and advanced training because decision makers need to know what we're talking about to make good decisions. And so that is something that you can um, just recommend to people, or there's printed materials you can just share. And this one, like from National League of Cities, how to train municipal staff for AI, also lays out. It's real simple and right to the point of what an effective AI training is. So there's an I guess the at the end of the day, this playbook's main, I think, message is you're not alone. There's so many resources, so many
Yeah.
so that I felt like I should just put them into one document so that you don't have to search everywhere for them. And I don't know, I mean, I'm sure there's a wrong way to do things, but you have enough information readily available today to build a foundation. And 2 years ago,
Mm,
that was already hard. That was hard to come upon. Like it was really hard to find a lot of information. But today, we're in a much different place. It's like sweet sailing now. Like there's so much to borrow from. Um,
yeah.
and then, a lot of people are ROI is such a huge part of the AI conversation. That's return on investment. Um, and that's really hard to evaluate a real simple ROI on things. And there is in the appendix more information on how to calculate that and determine it. But I think it's really like good to know a training. Do people know this information before and then after they feel more confident or right? That's to me, like I think we're talking about humans. And so like comfort level with AI is a big part of return on investment. If I'm afraid to use the technology that I have access to because I don't know enough or I haven't been trained on it. Um, like that's not efficient government, right? So everyone needs to at least, if they come in like, I've never used it, I never will, and then you do like a post survey and they're like, I understand it differently. And now I'm still not going to use it, but I understand, right? Like to
Yeah.
me,
You're moving the needle.
yes, like we,
Yeah.
like I will take it. I don't expect
Wow.
someone to go from 0 to 100. So that breaks that down. And I do feel like decision makers are going to ask for like this return on investment. Like they just want to know.
Of course.
And the benefit of a lot of those is they're free. So you don't need to really your return on investment is your staff's confidence in
Right.
using and understanding AI and what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do, and then how to do the thing, right? Those are the
Yeah.
that's what this playbook, that's its focus really.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And as you're scrolling down, I really appreciate how there are different, like you said, one, your long-term metrics might be, saved staff time and faster turnaround for our residents on answering questions, handling permits, handling yada, yada, yada. But also, you can have these interim metrics of, are people starting to use it? Are they getting comfortable with it? Do they feel empowered rather than afraid of the tools? And I think that's,
Yeah,
it's about building that continuum so that we can really show progress throughout.
yeah. And it's so important to always remember that we have 4 generations for sure. You may have 5 generations in your workforce. It just depends. Some people don't want to retire, so they're still here well into their older years.
Yeah.
And you think how much this older generation, how many different technologies, like they went from typewriter to word processor to computer, fax, the internet, right? I mean, they have seen so much, and to learn one more thing, I imagine there's like fatigue with that. But that's like a different, like you need to approach that generation a little differently than people who like maybe they're learning this in college or in even in high school, right? And so they're like, no problem, like this is easy. And then you have others who just need their hand to be held a little, right? And that I
Yeah.
think is something that people may not be thinking about. Is like
Yeah.
this one training can't be a fit for everybody, and that's what the surveys are going to tell you is the different kinds. And I think um not everyone has capacity to do this, and I understand that. Like I'm a one person team on this AI thing, right? But I like
Right.
poke all the people I can so that I don't feel so like it's all on me. um but it's like there's just so many different styles of learning and comfort levels, and we don't always think about that when we're trying to move things forward, right? And I think with AI, the priority really needs to be moving employees along with us, not forcing. That's like you don't have a choice but to use AI. I mean, that's could be a decision, right? But it's just like it's okay. Like let's just like move slowly together. We're all good, Like these people, they can go fast. We're just like I'm here to just make sure you feel comfortable, and that's not something that I think we're used to in any place I've worked, right? It's like the expectation is like you're already up here. Like we're not, it's not our jobs to get you up there. But with
Yeah.
AI, we really need to create space for people to learn and ask those questions that they're embarrassed to ask or yeah.
And I'll just say, from our experience, some of the most valuable investment that we have made around AI was getting staff who are 30, 35 years into their career, getting them into testing and working with these tools because they're the experts. They know their work, left, right, and center. And now they're not only finding a tool that can help them do it a little bit faster, they start to get curious about it. And for some of our staff, they've been building their own little AI assistants that serve the younger people in their staff. Like we've got some inspection staff, for example, where they're building their own, knowledge base on an AI and then sharing it with their incoming staff basically as a way almost as knowledge transfer.
That I think is such an interesting use case that we have been looking at here because a theme that we're hearing from departments is our policies. Like we have all these policies and then we have these trainings and we just want to create something so people can just interact with it, get their question answered and be on their way and not have to, go through like, the like days when you would have like a manual of 300 pages or like, here's the staff handbook,
Yep.
okay, right? Like we don't do that anymore. No one like that's
Yeah.
just so now it's like, okay, great, now it's all digital, but now I still need to like get through it and I want to do it efficiently and fast. Um, so yeah, it's such a great way for all of that to be in a one space and then people go and interact with it and get their questions answered. Like I love it.
Well, Marty, this has been fantastic. I just wanna wrap it all together here. So this playbook feels like my, you know, you AI has fallen into our collective lap, and this is your in emergency break glass, pull this out. It'll help you from quite literally just starting and helping enable your entire organization to use AI.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. And just to plug the other playbooks, like this is a series, right? So there's
Right.
several of these. And the next one is actually building your own education training
Mm,
plan. This is taking external resources and applying them. The next is like, no, we're going to build our own training. This is what we're going to do internally. And then after that, it's on agents and custom GPTs. And so it's like each of those is, I think,
yeah.
someone fits into one of those, right? For me, I don't necessarily want to create something from scratch, not today, not 2 years ago, maybe next year, right? And I don't have to do that. But then if you're in the position, you have capacity, you have the resources, then that's great. So yeah, I think all these playbooks meet someone in this journey right where they're at. So
Yeah.
this is for newbies. Like this is like basic kind of intro
Yeah.
into AI, just for those who get assigned this as other duties as assigned and may not know where to start. Like hopefully this is a good spot
Yeah. Yeah.
to get a sense of what we need to do. Yeah.
From aligning leadership, surveying your staff to understand where they're at, getting started on the base foundations of education and the base foundations of policy, all wrapped into this fantastic playbook that, again, Marty, thank you to you and the rest of our upskilling, our training working group for putting this together.
Yeah, we're happy. We're happy to get this out and hopefully it's helpful to people. And yeah, if you have resources that aren't in here, I think share them with the coalition because we all can utilize them.
Absolutely.